Hey everyone, this is Kira here playing from PC as of mod 18. This is a healing guide for devoted clerics for Infernal Citadel. I'm currently running for my encounters Divine Glow, Healing Word, and Bastion of Health. For my feats I'm running Desperate Prayers and Overflowing Spirit. I haven't seen very many DC healing guides out there, so this is for all you DCs out there. So let's just jump right into it. Excuse the video at the beginning here, it's gonna be a little bit choppy, but it fixes itself in a moment. So up here you don't DPS anything the first area, just go up the stairs and kill those mobs, and 3 different mini bosses are gonna show up. We always choose the mini boss on the left side for the chain power that we're gonna need on the next area. So I'm currently running at about 150k power and 62 outgoing healing. So just to give you an idea of this is a point where I'm really comfortable with running as a healer in this dungeon. Here's some of my powers so you can freeze and take a look at them. We're going to pause here for a moment. I wanted to talk to you about how I run my heals and kind of the logic behind it. With the class feature Overflowing Spirit, you get 25% increase on your next heal. Okay, and I use the Adwell Blessing of Light. That adds another 10%. So that's 35%, and I have a modification on my weapon that adds another 5% to that Adwell. So a total of 40 outgoing healing increase for your next heal. Okay, I currently have my outgoing healing at around 62%, so we're talking about almost at 100% increase on your next heal if you use that combination. And so for Healing Word, I like to cast my Adwell and then Healing Word when having my Divinity full. You're going to see me charging my Divinity a lot of the time, so I can have that bonus. So it helps a lot for the heal over time with Healing Word, keeps everyone full health pretty good. And allows me to use Bastion only when I need to. So for mobs between bosses, I like to run the Frozen Journal artifact to boost DPS. I also use for my daily Anointed Army that gives DPS 3% damage increase. Here in this area, you're just gonna use your F power to hit the chains and get through where the next first boss is. So depending on the power that you chose at the beginning, you're gonna be taken to a mini boss. So this is the one we have for the chains. Notice that red circle, you wanna stay away from there. It can kill even tanks. This tank is pretty good and he actually moves and dodges it. Nothing too special here, just use your Healing Word to keep everybody healed. Here's the actual first boss. Okay, tank is gonna grab aggro. The boss is gonna nudge himself forward. Make sure you're not in front of him. On this fight, I like to be on his side for the most part. Couple of mechanics here to look for. Notice I'm using Healing Word because the DPS are pretty spread out, and so is the away from the tank. Okay, the boss is gonna do that sting. Some tanks can't dodge that, just don't know the fight well enough. Just make sure to be ready for a heal. Notice the tank goes underneath to avoid the spines. Okay, right here the boss kicks backwards. That can hit your DPS pretty good, so be ready for a heal there if necessary. Here on the ground you see there's some green, dark green areas. Those do damage over time and they hit pretty hard. Make sure you stay out of there and encourage your DPS to move if they're sitting on there. So throughout the fight I'm really just looking at the tank's health and using Bastion of Health when necessary if one of the DPS is running low on health. That spore there right next to me, we usually don't have to even touch it, it'll just explode, and depending on the DPS of the group, you can just ignore it and fight around the spores in the ground. Okay, here I'm kind of stuck. You just have to slide out of there, and you might need to do a little bit of healing as you exit. Okay, and notice how I have to move right away because the scratch from the boss will hurt pretty good. Here's Anointed Army for my daily. Give him some DPS boost. As a rule, I have my DPS rest each other, so I'm ready for heals. Okay, healing word again, keeping my eye on the health bars. Yeah, I like the DPS as much as I can. Okay, here's an example where the tank couldn't dodge the sting, and he died right away. That's normal if they can't dodge it. Okay, I'm using my commander just to give the 10% DPS boost. There's that scratch. He didn't dodge it, so he got hit about half his health. That's pretty much for the first fight. For this next area coming up, the only really important thing as a healer is to watch out for the small AoE that will target everyone in the group. If the DPS don't move away or dodge it, they can get hit pretty hard. So be ready for a heal. One of the main things about this second boss is you're gonna see that I'm gonna be standing on the opposite side of a pillar. If he doesn't have direct line of sight to me, he's not going to target me when he does the small AoE that he puts on everybody. And that helps a lot, so I don't have to worry so much about my health, and I can worry about my party members' health. So I'm using Bastion of Health here, specifically for the tank, because Healing Word just won't be enough. There's some pretty big hits. I like to move away from all the red AoE on the ground. Use Bastion of Health as needed. Just notice how I'm really trying to stay out of his line of sight. At around 75% and 50% and 25%, I believe, the boss is gonna jump into the middle. You're gonna see me go right towards my teammates when he does, because we're gonna get changed by imps, and the closer you are to your teammates, the easier it is to kill the imps. So right here we're all grouped. Everyone's pretty knowledgeable on this fight and they know how to stay together. I like the DPS and help out, kill the imp if possible. The perfect time to redo your Healing Word here. I noticed one of our DPS actually didn't stay close enough, and so he was too far away for us to reach him. So if you're a DPS, just stay close for that phase. So here the boss targeted everyone on his line of sight. Notice the DPS put because he was standing near the middle, the fire went in the middle. I do always encourage people to go to the nearest exterior wall, so there's no issues with walking around the middle if the party needs to move. I do see a lot of parties wipe because the DPS don't know where to go. Here again, he drops it kinda in the middle. Again, so here we're a little bit more spread out, but I'm looking to do a healing ward just in case somebody's standing on lava, and I'm helping out on DPS to kill the imps. Again, just note here how often I'm charging my divinity, so whenever possible I can make the most out of overflowing spirit. Right now my divinity is about halfway there. Whenever it's below 50%, that's why I like to use desperate prayers, the feat, because it increases my healing by 20%. Right here at the end is probably the only time where I'm comfortable being in his line of sight, because he's about to die. And I can use this health stone if I need to regenerate my health. I just want to DPS as much as I can with the group. And here I'm chained myself. I can't do anything, just depending on my DPS to get me out of the chain. I'm actually going to slide out, but somehow the game didn't recognize that I was behind a pillar and I die. Regularly I would scroll myself back to life, but I saw my teammates reviving me right there. And we're close to the fight, so it's not a big deal that they revived me. At this point we want to switch healing word for intercession. There's a point in time where the tank is going to be chained to the boss and he's going to take a lot of damage. That's an emergency heal in case I need it if my bastion of health is not sufficient. The way I tell when to step out of the circle is when it dims or there's a flicker. On this next portion here, we're going to notice where he starts to shoot his fire constantly, and I just walk around and stand where I know he's going to end. As soon as he stops moving, I'm going to drop my artifact and potentially use my mount power to help DPS him. After the spin, he's going to chain the tank. So notice how he starts shaking. Right here he's shaking. That's your cue, and you see the tank is being chained right now. I spam Bastion of Health as much as I can. If the tank's health drops below 50%, that's when I use my intercession to bring him up to full health. The other points I would make here is because I'm not using Healing Word, I'm more aware of the positioning of my team members, so I can heal them with Bastioning of Health as necessary. Okay, after he shoots that fire, he's gonna start spinning. Your goal here is just to survive. Don't try to use Bastioning of Health. Sometimes the party member will get hit pretty good. That's a good time to use your intercession to heal him up in case he doesn't use a health stone. Right here, watch out for the shake again. Tank is being chained. Use Bastion of Health. Bastion of Health. And this tank is pretty good. He's got a pretty good setup with incoming healing. And there is an enchantment you can use that will help with reducing the amount of time that he's chained. I can't remember the name of it, but that helps a lot as a healer if your tank has that. Notice right there I get hit right in the face with the fire. I use his health stone rather than any other method of healing because I need to be able to move quickly and stay in rhythm with that rotation. At this point where I'm completely then directly behind the boss is the only time that I may use Bastion of Health because I know I got some wiggle room to heal. So you might see me using the Bastion of Health coming up at that point. But if I'm kind of in front of him, I don't dare, I just keep moving. At this point you see one of my team members health drop almost to the point of death. That's a perfect time to use intercession to save him. At this point, this is our final DPS check. Just help with as much DPS as you can. I use my anointed army to increase DPS, and I drop my artifact to help out with DPS too. Well, I hope this video helps any of the healers out there, and until next time.